My name is Jake Thompson, and for the longest time, I believed I had it all figured out. I met Emily Parker in college, and we hit it off instantly. She was smart, beautiful, and seemed to share all my dreams and values. We got married 2 years after graduation and soon welcomed a beautiful daughter, Lily. But life has a way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. My younger brother, Ryan, was always like a second father to Lily. When Ryan and his wife decided to move abroad for a year, I volunteered to take care of Lily. It felt natural, family helping family, right? At first, everything seemed perfect. Emily was loving, and Ryan was thrilled that Lily was in good hands. But as the months rolled by, subtle changes began to surface. Emily became distant, always busy with work or friends. Ryan noticed it too, often joking that Emily was too perfect to be true. I brushed it off, attributing it to the stress of balancing work and motherhood. One evening, I came home earlier than usual from a late shift. As I walked through the front door, I noticed Emily's behavior was off. She was unusually quiet, and there was an unfamiliar tension in the air. I tried to lighten the mood, but she barely responded, her eyes darting nervously around the room. A few days later, Ryan called me up. "Hey Jake, how's everything going here?" he asked. Same old, same old. How's the new job treating you?" I replied. There was a pause on the other end. "Actually, Jake, there's something I need to talk to you about. It's about Emily." My heart skipped a beat. Ryan had always been straightforward, so if he wanted to discuss something serious, it was time to listen. After Ryan's cryptic call about Emily, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that something was seriously wrong. Ryan has always been the reliable one in our family, straightforward, honest, the kind of guy you'd trust with anything. So when he mentioned Emily, my mind started racing with worst-case scenarios. A few days after that call, Ryan decided to fly back home early due to some unexpected work commitments. I was relieved to have him around. Having an extra pair of hands with Lily was a bonus. But the relief was short-lived. One Saturday afternoon, while Emily was out running errands, as she often did, Ryan and I decided to catch up over a couple of beers. We sat in the backyard, the kids playing in the distance, and started talking about life, work, and everything in between. Then, Ryan's demeanor changed. He looked uneasy, almost pained. "Jake, there's something you need to know about Emily," he began hesitantly. I felt a chill run down my spine. "What are you talking about, Ryan?" He took a deep breath. "It's not easy for me to say this, but I found out that Emily has been cheating on you. With someone you know?" My heart pounded in my chest. "What? Are you serious?" Ryan nodded. "Yeah, man. I saw messages on her phone, texts, photos. It's been going on for months." I couldn't believe it. Emily, my wife of 5 years, the mother of my child, was cheating on me? With who? Who is it with? I demanded, my voice barely above a whisper. Ryan hesitated, then said, "It's with me. I've been seeing her too." At that moment, everything felt like it was spinning out of control. The man I considered my best friend and brother was admitting to being the other man in my marriage. I sat there, numb, trying to process the information. Anger, betrayal, and confusion surged through me. How could both of them do this? How could Emily lie to me for so long? Ryan tried to explain, "I never meant for it to happen like this. We were both going through a rough patch, and it just happened." But his excuses felt hollow. The trust we had as brothers was shattered in an instant. As Ryan left to return to his new job overseas, I was left alone with the devastating truth. My mind raced with questions and a deep sense of betrayal. How long had this been going on? Why didn't Emily ever tell me? And most importantly, what was I going to do now? After Ryan left, I couldn't just sit around and let everything fester. The betrayal was too fresh, too raw. I knew I had to confront Emily, to hear it directly from her. But what I didn't anticipate was just how cold and deceitful she'd become. One evening, after Lily was asleep, I decided to bring it up. I found Emily in the kitchen, supposedly preparing for our anniversary dinner, a dinner that hadn't felt the same for months. The moment she saw me, her smile faded, and a tense silence filled the room. "Emily, we need to talk," I started, trying to keep my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. She turned to face me, her expression shifting from feigned innocence to irritation. About what, Jake? We've been over this a million times. I took a deep breath. Don't play dumb with me. Ryan told me everything. How you and he have been seeing each other behind my back. Her eyes narrowed, and she scoffed. Ryan? Please. He's just being paranoid. There's nothing going on. I wasn't buying it. Cut the crap, Emily. I saw the messages, the photos. How long has this been going on? She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms defensively. Oh, so now you're going to lecture me? Maybe if you actually paid attention instead of being some oblivious husband, none of this would have happened. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. Don't you dare blame me for your own shortcomings. You're the one who decided to throw our marriage away for some fling. She laughed bitterly. A fling? Ryan and I aren't having a fling. We're serious. Maybe you should have realized that by now. At this point, I could feel my patience snapping. Serious? Seriously, Emily, you lied to me for 7 years. 7 freaking years. And you thought you could just keep it hidden? She took a step closer, her demeanor turning downright hostile. You think you're the only one who's been dealing with something? Maybe if you weren't so perfect all the time, you could have noticed when things weren't right. I couldn't believe the audacity. Perfect? You're the one who couldn't keep it in your pants. You're a bitch, Emily. You manipulated everyone around you, including Ryan. How could you do this to me, to Lily? Her face flushed with anger. Watch your mouth, Jake. You have no idea what you're talking about. Before I could respond, Lily came into the room, sensing the tension. Daddy, what's wrong? She asked, her innocent eyes looking between us. In that moment, something inside me snapped. I turned away, trying to hold back the tears. Nothing, sweetheart. Just a grown-up thing. As Lily left, Emily continued her tirade, spewing lies and accusations. She blamed me for being too busy, too detached, claiming that I never cared about her feelings. It was a twisted game of gaslighting, making me doubt my own worth and sanity. But deep down, I knew the truth. She was the one who had shattered our family, who had lied and cheated without a second thought. The rage I felt was overwhelming, but so was the determination to reclaim my life and protect Lily from this toxic environment. After that explosive confrontation with Emily, I felt like my world had shattered into a million pieces. The room was thick with tension, and as I watched Lily run back to her room, I realized the full extent of the damage. She's only 7, and seeing her confused and scared broke something inside me. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing with thoughts and emotions. Anger, betrayal, sadness, and a deep sense of loss consumed me. I kept replaying Ryan's confession and Emily's lies over and over, trying to make sense of it all. How had everything fallen apart so quickly? I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The neighborhood was quiet, the streets dimly lit by the occasional street lamp. As I walked, memories flooded back: our wedding day, the birth of Lily, family gatherings with Ryan. It all seemed like a distant dream now, overshadowed by the harsh reality of deceit. I found myself at our favorite spot in the local park, a small bench under a large oak tree where Ryan and I had spent countless hours talking about life, dreams, and everything in between. Sitting there alone, I felt the weight of my emotions pressing down on me. I reached for my phone, contemplating reaching out to Ryan. But how could I? The man I once considered my best friend had betrayed me in the most intimate way possible. The thought of confronting him again filled me with dread, yet a part of me desperately wanted answers. Instead, I scrolled through my messages, searching for any clue that might explain how Emily had kept this hidden for so long. It was then that a particular message caught my eye: a DNA test result that Ryan had sent me a few months ago, just before he left for his job overseas. At the time, I had dismissed it as another one of his crazy ideas, but now, it all made sense. I remembered that Ryan had always been a bit obsessive about health and genetics. A DNA test? I had never taken one. But why would he send me the results? A wave of realization hit me. Ryan wasn't just confessing to the affair, he was also hinting at something deeper, something I hadn't noticed before. I decided to dig deeper. I called Ryan's number, my hands trembling as I waited for him to pick up. After what felt like an eternity, he answered. "Jake, what's up?" His voice sounded distant, almost uninterested. "Ryan, we need to talk," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's about the DNA test you sent me." There was a long pause. "I figured you'd have questions," he finally replied. "What do you mean? What did it show?" I demanded, frustration seeping into my voice. Ryan sighed heavily. "The test revealed something unexpected. It turns out, Lily isn't entirely your daughter." I felt like the floor had dropped out from beneath me. "What are you talking about? How is that possible?" "There were some irregularities in the results," Ryan explained. "I thought it was best to keep it to myself until I could confirm everything. But with everything that's happened, I think you deserve to know the truth." My mind was reeling. Lily, my precious Lily, was not entirely mine? How could this be? Had Emily been lying about everything from the start? "Are you saying I'm not Lily's father?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Ryan didn't respond immediately. "It's complicated, Jake. I'm still trying to process it myself. But there's more you need to know." Before I could ask anything else, Ryan hung up, leaving me alone with my spiraling thoughts. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. If Lily wasn't entirely mine, what did that mean for our family? And how did Emily manage to keep such a monumental secret hidden for 7 years? I sat there in the park, tears welling up in my eyes. The betrayal from both Emily and Ryan felt insurmountable. Not only had my wife cheated on me with my brother, but now there were questions about the very foundation of my family, Lily's paternity. The sense of betrayal was all-consuming. I felt angry at Emily for manipulating and lying to me, angry at Ryan for breaking the trust we had as brothers, and confused about what the future held for me and Lily. After Ryan dropped that bombshell about the DNA test, I was left in a state of complete disbelief. Not only had my wife been cheating with my own brother, but now there was a possibility that Lily wasn't entirely mine. The more I thought about it, the more questions flooded my mind. How long had this been going on? Was Lily's paternity part of the affair? Determined to get to the bottom of this, I decided to retrieve the DNA test Ryan had sent me. It was buried deep in my email inbox, almost as if Ryan knew I'd be searching for answers. With shaky hands, I opened the message and downloaded the attached report. As I read through the test results, my heart sank. The report confirmed that while Lily is predominantly my daughter, there's a significant percentage of her DNA that doesn't match mine. This meant that Emily had been carrying another man's child all along. My mind raced. Could it be Ryan? It seemed too convenient, too orchestrated. I needed confirmation. I decided to confront Ryan one more time, hoping he'd shed some light on this twisted situation. I reached out to him, and after some back and forth, he agreed to meet me at our old family cabin for a serious talk. The family cabin felt like a relic from happier times, a stark contrast to the tension simmering between us. When Ryan arrived, I could see the guilt etched on his face. He sat down, avoiding my gaze, which only fueled my anger. "Ryan, lay it out for me. Is Lily not entirely mine because of your affair with Emily?" I demanded, my voice barely containing the fury. He sighed deeply, finally meeting my eyes. "Jake, I never wanted it to come to this. Yes, Lily is partly mine. It was a one-time thing, a mistake. I was going through a rough patch, and Emily, things just happened." My blood boiled. "A mistake? You think that justifies lying to me for 7 years? Raising a child that's not entirely mine? You and Emily manipulated everything, our family, Lily's life." Ryan looked defeated. "I know I messed up. I regret it every day. But we both loved Lily. I wanted to tell you, but I was scared of losing you both." Hearing Ryan admit to being Lily's biological father was like a punch to the gut. Not only had he betrayed me romantically, but he had also played a direct role in the paternity of my child. The depth of their deceit was staggering. I left the cabin that night with a mind filled with rage and a burning desire for retribution. I couldn't let them get away with this. I needed to expose their lies and ensure they faced the consequences of their actions. The first step was to gather evidence. I started collecting every message, email, and piece of communication between Emily and Ryan. It wasn't long before I had a mountain of proof that would bring their deceit to light. But I needed to be smart about this. A straight confrontation might not be enough to ruin them. I decided to enlist the help of a private investigator, someone who could dig up even more dirt on both Emily and Ryan. The idea was to ensure that their secrets were exposed not just to me, but to everyone around them. I wanted them to feel the full weight of their betrayal. As I delved deeper into their lives, I stumbled upon something I never expected. Emily had been investing heavily in a startup company, claiming it was her passion project. Intrigued, I dug into the business records and discovered that the startup was actually a front for money laundering, using funds from Ryan's illicit activities abroad. This revelation added another layer to their deceit. Not only had they betrayed me personally, but they were also involved in criminal activities that could destroy our family's reputation and financial stability. This was the smoking gun I needed. As my plan for revenge took shape, I found myself torn between my desire for justice and the moral implications of what I was about to do. Exposing Emily and Ryan would tear apart not just their lives, but also Lily's sense of security and innocence. I struggled with guilt, wondering if revenge was the right path. But the pain of their betrayal was too deep to ignore. I had to protect Lily from the toxic environment they had created, even if it meant making sacrifices that weighed heavily on my conscience. With everything in place, I decided it was time to act. I began by leaking the evidence to a local news outlet anonymously. The story of a husband uncovering his wife's affair with his brother, coupled with their involvement in financial crimes, made headlines overnight. The fallout was immediate. Emily was arrested, Ryan faced legal consequences, and our family was thrust into the public eye in the worst possible way. In the days that followed, our lives were turned upside down. Friends and family were shocked and hurt by the revelations. Emily's reputation was in ruins, and Ryan was facing serious charges that could lead to prison time. Lily was confused and scared by the sudden changes, and I struggled to maintain a semblance of normalcy for her sake. Amidst the chaos, I found an unexpected ally in Sarah, an old friend from college who had always been there for me. She offered a listening ear and helped me navigate the emotional turmoil. Her support was invaluable, reminding me that not everyone was tainted by Emily and Ryan's deceit. After leaking the evidence to the local news and seeing the immediate fallout, I felt a mix of relief and unfinished business. Emily was behind bars, and Ryan was facing some serious charges, but deep down, I knew I wasn't done yet. Their actions had torn my family apart, and I needed to ensure that their lives were completely shattered. Just when I thought I was navigating this storm alone, I received an unexpected call from Detective Mark Harris, a seasoned investigator with the local police department. I'd known Mark casually through neighborhood barbecues and mutual friends, but I never imagined we'd cross paths in such a dire situation. "Jake, I've been following your case closely," Mark began, his voice serious. "I believe there's more to uncover here, especially with the financial crimes tied to Ryan. I'd like to help you bring down the rest of their operation." I was taken aback. I wasn't sure if I should reach out to the police, but I appreciate you stepping in, Mark. "What do you need from me?" Mark outlined a plan to gather more concrete evidence against Ryan's financial dealings and to ensure that Emily couldn't escape her charges easily. His involvement gave me a sense of validation and a renewed determination to see this through. As I delved deeper into the chaos, I realized that I couldn't handle everything on my own. I reached out to some old friends who had distanced themselves since the fallout began. Surprisingly, a few were willing to lend a hand, seeing my genuine need for support. One of them was Lisa Martinez, a sharp and resourceful friend from college who had become a successful journalist. "I can help you document everything," Lisa offered. "If you're open to it, I can write a detailed exposé that complements the police investigation." Another was Tom Reynolds, a tech-savvy guy who worked in cybersecurity. "I can help you secure your digital communications and maybe even hack into some of their accounts if needed," he suggested with a determined look. Having Lisa and Tom on board not only boosted my efforts but also provided a sense of camaraderie in this battle against betrayal. As we started gathering more evidence, Tom stumbled upon something alarming. "Jake, look at this," he said, showing me a series of encrypted files he had managed to access. "Ryan and Emily have been funneling money into offshore accounts. They've hidden assets all over the country." This revelation was a game-changer. It meant that their financial crimes were more extensive than we initially thought, providing even more ammunition to bring them down completely. Amidst all this, I found myself sinking deeper into a whirlwind of emotions. The lines between justice and revenge began to blur. Was I crossing into morally gray territory by orchestrating their downfall? The anger and hurt were still raw, but moments of doubt crept in, making me question my path. One night, I confided in Sarah about my struggles. "I just want justice, Sarah. But sometimes, it feels like I'm becoming the very thing I despise," I admitted, tears welling up in my eyes. She took my hand and looked me in the eyes. "Jake, you're not losing yourself. Just remember why you started and keep your heart in check. We're here to support you every step of the way." Her words were a balm to my troubled soul, reminding me to stay grounded despite the chaos. With Mark's help, we coordinated a raid on one of the offshore accounts. The authorities moved swiftly, seizing assets and building a stronger case against Ryan and Emily. The public was now not only aware of their personal betrayals but also their extensive financial crimes. The media frenzy intensified. Emily's reputation was in ruins, and Ryan was now facing multiple charges that could land him behind bars for years. Watching them lose everything was both satisfying and deeply unsettling. Just as things were starting to go our way, I received a threatening message. It was anonymous, but the content was clear: "Stop digging, or there will be consequences." The timing couldn't have been worse, and fear began to creep in. Was someone else involved trying to protect Ryan and Emily's secrets? Or was this a warning from the remnants of their network? Determined not to let fear derail my mission, I leaned even more on my support system. Lisa provided invaluable media coverage, ensuring that our story reached a wide audience. Tom reinforced our digital security, making it harder for anyone to sabotage our efforts. Mark continued his diligent work with the police, ensuring that every piece of evidence was meticulously documented. Together, we formed a formidable team, united by a common goal to bring justice to our disrupted lives. In a surprising turn of events, Dr. Karen Evans, my former college professor and a respected figure in the community, reached out to me. "Jake, I've heard about what you're going through," she said. "I have some resources and connections that might help you further. Let's meet." Dr. Evans introduced me to a network of individuals who had their own reasons to take down Ryan and Emily. Their combined knowledge and resources opened new avenues for uncovering the full extent of their deceit. With every passing day, we inched closer to dismantling the remaining parts of Ryan and Emily's operations. Leaked documents, financial records, and testimonies from disgruntled employees painted a comprehensive picture of their fraudulent activities. The pressure on Ryan and Emily mounted. Legal actions were piling up, and their attempts to salvage their lives were failing miserably. It felt like a never-ending cycle of betrayal and retribution, but I was determined to see it through. As our plans progressed, the emotional toll became increasingly apparent. The strain on my relationship with Lily was significant. She didn't fully understand why everything was falling apart, and I struggled to maintain my composure around her. One evening, after a particularly long day, Lily sat beside me on the couch. "Daddy, why are you so sad?" she asked innocently. I took a deep breath, trying to muster a reassuring smile. Sometimes, grown-ups have problems they need to solve. "But no matter what, I love you more than anything." Her trusting gaze pierced through me, reminding me of what was truly at stake. It was a stark reminder that while revenge provided a temporary sense of justice, it came at a high emotional cost. With our team, Mark, Lisa, Tom, and the unexpected help from Dr. Karen Evans, we were closing in on the last remnants of Emily and Ryan's operations. The legal cases were piling up, and the public sentiment was overwhelmingly against them. But I knew there was one last piece to the puzzle that could bring everything crashing down. One evening, as Lisa was digging through some old business records, she stumbled upon a name that kept popping up: Gregory Adams. Gregory was a high-profile investor who had been funding Emily's startup under the guise of legitimate business. However, every lead we followed pointed to him being the real mastermind behind their money laundering scheme. "Jake, you need to meet Gregory," Lisa said urgently. "He's the one who's been pulling the strings all along. If we can expose him, it will not only bring down Emily and Ryan but also dismantle their entire network." Intrigued and determined, I agreed to meet Gregory. Lisa arranged a meeting through some of her journalist contacts, ensuring it was discreet. The meeting was set at a high-end restaurant downtown, a place where Gregory often conducted his business deals. Sitting across from Gregory, I could sense his arrogance. He was impeccably dressed, exuding confidence and power. Lisa and Tom were by my side, ready to support me. "Gregory, we need to talk," I began, trying to keep my voice steady. "I know everything about your involvement with Emily and Ryan." He smirked, leaning back in his chair. "Is that so, Jake? I thought you'd never find out." I didn't hold back. "You used Emily's startup as a front for money laundering. You manipulated both her and Ryan to funnel funds into offshore accounts. It's time to end this." Gregory's smirk faded, replaced by a cold, calculating gaze. "You think you can just walk away and take me down? I have connections that you can't even imagine." Before I could respond, Tom had already pulled out his phone, capturing every moment. "We have all the evidence we need," he said firmly. "The authorities are ready to move in." Gregory's eyes darted around the restaurant, searching for an escape route. "You haven't seen anything yet," he hissed. "There are more of us out there." Just as we thought we had him cornered, things took a sudden turn. The door to the restaurant burst open, and a group of men in dark suits stormed in. It was clear they were Gregory's henchmen, sent to intimidate us. Mark stepped forward, trying to defuse the situation. "Gregory, this isn't necessary. Let's all just calm down." But Gregory was beyond reason. "No, Mark. This is the only way to protect my interests." A scuffle ensued. Lisa and I tried to protect Tom, who was frantically trying to upload the incriminating footage he had recorded. In the chaos, one of Gregory's men grabbed Lisa, threatening her. Without thinking, I lunged forward, tackling him to the ground. The fight was messy and intense, but thankfully, Mark and Tom managed to subdue the attackers until the police arrived. With the police now fully involved, Gregory had no choice but to face the consequences. He was arrested on the spot, and the evidence we provided ensured that he couldn't escape justice. This was the final blow to Emily and Ryan's empire. Without Gregory's backing, their operations crumbled completely. The confrontation left me shaken. Seeing Lisa nearly get hurt and the violence that erupted was a stark reminder of how far I was willing to go for revenge. As we watched Gregory being taken away, a mix of relief and guilt washed over me. Was this the price I had to pay to reclaim my life? That night, I sat alone, reflecting on everything that had transpired. The line between justice and vengeance had blurred, and I couldn't help but question if I had gone too far. But deep down, I knew that without taking drastic measures, Emily and Ryan would have continued to wreak havoc on my life and Lily's future. Just when I thought I could catch a moment of peace, Lily approached me with a worried expression. "Daddy, why are there so many police officers at home?" she asked innocently. I took a deep breath, forcing a reassuring smile. "It's okay, sweetheart. Everything is going to be all right. We're getting some help to make sure everyone is safe." Her confusion and fear added another layer to my guilt. I had to protect her from the fallout, but how? With Emily and Ryan's operations dismantled and Gregory behind bars, the legal battles were still ongoing. I focused on rebuilding my life and providing a stable environment for Lily. The support from Sarah, Lisa, Tom, and Mark was invaluable during this time. Together, we navigated the legal complexities and ensured that Lily's well-being remained the top priority. Just as I began to feel a sense of closure, another shocking revelation surfaced. An anonymous tip revealed that there was more to Gregory's network, individuals who were now seeking revenge for his downfall. These new threats meant that my journey was far from over, and I had to stay vigilant to protect myself and Lily from the lingering dangers. Just when I thought Gregory's downfall would mark the end of Emily and Ryan's reign of deceit, another wave hit me. It started with a simple phone call late one night. I was reviewing some legal documents related to Emily and Ryan's case when my phone buzzed with an unknown number. Hesitant but curious, I answered. "Jake Thompson?" "Yes, who is this?" I responded cautiously. "Listen carefully, Jake. You need to stop what you're doing. You don't know who you're dealing with." The line went dead before I could ask any questions. My heart raced. Was this a threat from Gregory's network, or someone else entirely? I knew I couldn't take this lightly. Determined to get to the bottom of this, I confided in Mark. We decided to investigate who could be behind the warning. Together with Lisa and Tom, we started digging into Gregory's connections, hoping to find any leads that could point us toward the new threat. Our investigation led us to an unexpected place, a high-profile attorney named Victor Langston. Victor had been representing Gregory and had connections to several other influential figures who might benefit from keeping Emily and Ryan's operations intact. "Jake, Victor Langston is a big player," Mark warned. "He's got ties everywhere, from law enforcement to business elites. Taking him down won't be easy." But we were already in too deep to back out now. With Victor potentially orchestrating these threats, we knew we had to act carefully. Strengthening our team, bringing in reinforcements. Realizing the magnitude of the situation, I reached out to Dr. Karen Evans again. Her network included cybersecurity experts and legal advisors who could provide the support we needed. "Jake, this is beyond just personal revenge," Dr. Evans said during our meeting. "Victor Langston is involved in more than just helping Gregory. We need a comprehensive strategy to dismantle his influence." With her help, we brought on board a few more allies. Maya Patel, a former FBI agent with expertise in cyber threats. Ethan Brooks, a renowned hacker who could help us breach Victor's secure networks. One morning, as I was leaving Lily's school, I noticed a black SUV following me. My instincts kicked in, I knew we were being watched. That evening, as I arrived home, I found a note taped to my car window. "Stop digging, or your family pays the price." Fear gripped me, but I couldn't let it deter me. I had to protect Lily and bring Victor Langston to justice. With our expanded team, we devised a multi-pronged approach. Gathering evidence, Ethan and Maya worked tirelessly to infiltrate Victor's digital fortress, searching for incriminating evidence of his involvement in illegal activities. Legal maneuvering, Dr. Evans coordinated with sympathetic lawyers to build a case that could withstand Victor's influence within the legal system. Public exposure, Lisa prepared another exposé, this time focusing on Victor's corrupt dealings, ensuring that the public would be on our side. An unexpected ally, Detective Sarah Collins. Amidst the chaos, Detective Sarah Collins, a trusted investigator from the local police department, reached out to me. She had been monitoring Victor Langston for years but lacked the evidence to take him down. "I've seen the destruction Victor can cause," Sarah explained. "If you're serious about this, I'll help you. But we need to be cautious." Her involvement added a crucial layer of legitimacy and protection to our efforts. After weeks of relentless effort, Ethan finally cracked one of Victor's encrypted files. The document revealed a series of illegal transactions and connections to other corrupt officials. "Jake, this is it," Ethan announced triumphantly. "We have concrete evidence of Victor's involvement in money laundering and bribery." With this breakthrough, we knew we were one step closer to dismantling his empire. As our plans advanced, the emotional toll weighed heavily on me. The constant fear, the strain on my relationship with Lily, and the moral ambiguity of our actions began to take their toll. One evening, Lily sat beside me, clutching her favorite stuffed animal. "Daddy, why are you always so tired?" I forced a smile, hiding my exhaustion. "Just working hard to make sure everything is okay for us, sweetheart." Her innocent question was a stark reminder of what was at stake. I couldn't let my quest for revenge destroy the most important thing in my life. Just as we were about to present our findings to the authorities, someone leaked partial information to the media. The story was sensationalized, painting me as the villain rather than the victim seeking justice. "Our plans are falling apart," Lisa said, frustration evident in her voice. "The public isn't seeing it our way anymore." I felt a surge of anger and desperation. How could we recover from this? Refusing to let the leak derail us, we regrouped to tighten our strategy. Rebuilding trust, we focused on strengthening our relationships with key allies and ensuring that our evidence was irrefutable. Damage control, Lisa worked on a follow-up story that clarified the truth, highlighting Victor's manipulations and our legitimate quest for justice. Security enhancements, Maya and Ethan implemented advanced security measures to protect our communications and data from further breaches. The final push, taking down Victor. With our strategy reinforced, we made one last push to bring Victor Langston to his knees. Armed with undeniable evidence and the support of Detective Collins, we approached the highest levels of law enforcement. "Jake, this is your moment," Sarah encouraged. "Victor won't see this coming. In a coordinated effort, law enforcement officials moved in to arrest Victor during a high-profile business meeting. The evidence we provided left him with no room to maneuver or negotiate his way out. As I watched Victor being led away in handcuffs, a mix of relief and exhaustion washed over me. The nightmare was finally coming to an end. Victory felt bittersweet. While justice had been served, the emotional scars remained. The journey had taken a toll on my mental and emotional well-being, and rebuilding my life felt like an uphill battle.